This is our briefing before the takeoff. Folks, I want to give you a little bit of a briefing. It's going to be 2 hours. It might be a little bumpy on the trip. There's nothing unsafe. The weather's good on both ends. There's no thunderstorms en route. It'll be a nice trip. We'll get some air going in a second here, folks.
It's absolutely an incredible honor. The company that we are in with this enshrinement is so spectacular. There's only 200 and some enshrinees over the lifetime of the National Aviation Hall of Fame. That makes it very, very special. And the thing that is particularly important to us is that John and I are being jointly honored, both of us, in our little mom and pop operation.
Martha and I don't like to make a big deal out of things, but this is a big deal. And so it means a lot to us. What it really means a lot to us is to be recognized as this partnership. Hello, how you guys doing?
How you doing today, sir?
Thank you very much. I'm John Kay.
Steve, nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
We're not aware of any other husband and wife team that has received this level of recognition, and it's a huge honor, and we're just blown away by it and totally delighted.
So we're going to have fun watching it all happen.
Yeah.
My name is John Berry. I'm the president and CEO of Wings Over the Rockies. Welcome to Wings.
What I like to pass on to the young people who are our future is that they should don't let circumstance be an excuse for not achieving.
We recognize and celebrate all of you. We put no limit on the distinction on whom we honor, other than that the ability to show that their lives were dedicated to furthering American aviation, living or dead, rich or poor, and any sector of aerospace, perseverance is imminent.
Well, I take pride in the fact that I'm an engineer. You know, I'm an engineer who's a pilot, an astronaut, that sort of thing. I fell in love with airplanes as a kid, and I've had an exciting career, both as a Air Force officer, fighter pilot, astronaut, and engineer. So it's been exciting, and I feel very blessed.
I'm Greg Feith, and I'm a former investigator with the National Transportation Safety Board, and I'm here with my two good friends, John and Martha King, who are the ultimate in training professionals.
It's been just a great evening seeing a lot of the other people here. The other enshrinees are wonderful, exciting people to get to know. But everybody here is very special because they're in the aviation community. It's fabulous.
We spent some time talking to Pappy Boyington's son. And one of the questions is, what's it like to be Pappy Boyington's son and grow up with Pappy Boyington? And I said to his son, one of the greatest compliments I can pay to someone, observe they're not normal. And his father was not normal.
And Greg, I don't think you are either.
No, I am definitely not normal, trust me.
People often say to us, John and Martha, you've been teaching pilots for 43 years, something like that. How is it you're still eating regularly in this business? and our answer is that two things. One, we've always solicited feedback from our customers. We have postcards, now it's computer feedback, but we always get feedback. We're very responsive. In the early days when we first went to video, they said, John talks too fast. And that was consistent feedback, so John learned to talk slower.
Our first CEO, David Jackson, came to us from the video business, and that's what we were in at the time. Our business was strictly video when we began, mailing out VHS tapes to people. And our current CEO, Barry Canutula, came to us from the software development industry, and that's what we're in now, is software. We still, of course, have video, but it's now incorporated into computer programs which are online and can be downloaded to iPads for use offline. And he brings a lot of vision with him about the possibilities with technology for reaching people and making aviation learning more accessible.
We're thrilled that you're here, and we're going to have a great time.
What a special honor. It's just, the whole thing just blows us away.
This is what you call a party.
Congratulations, so good to see you. We're so thrilled for you, so happy for you.
I've watched them probably for about 40 years, which is just before I began my flying career in insurance. And they've been terrific mentors. And the thing that's really nice about John and Martha is not only are they good educators and stuff, they are terrific people.
This is a really exciting evening. I'm so proud to be here to recognize John and Martha King and support and honor them.
John and Martha, I can't think of two people more deserving of this award, especially even this morning when the chairman of the entire Aviation Hall of Fame, who was, I guess, a Delta pilot and now a United executive, says that he got his license by taking your course in the 70s. So that brings this thing full circle.
Hi, I'm Dave Jackson,
and I'm Christine Jackson.
And we've known John and Martha for 35 years as dear friends, and we are so excited for them tonight. This is such a well-deserved honor. It's so great, and we're just so proud of them.
I am so excited. This is like the Oscars of aviation, so I'm absolutely thrilled to be here.
Cannot have even imagined a better company, better place to work, and that's really because of John and Martha and the culture that they've set at King Schools.
Thank you for who you are and for what you do, and congratulations for this wonderful, wonderful award.
I'm so proud to be a part and to help you get through and relax you before you go on stage, and it's just such an honor, and I really, truly, my heart is just so filled with joy.
John and Martha, congratulations. This is an honor well deserved, and we're so happy to be here tonight to be part of this special ceremony.
My approach to teaching on video is you're just talking to one person at a time, because that's only one person is receiving at a time. So we're just talking to a pilot.
The 10 years of teaching the live classes so often, I think, made a huge contribution to our ability to do that, to reach through the lens, if you will, and share one-on-one with the learning pilot.
I've known John and Martha King for 3 decades as friends. Our first meeting was when I was not at AOPA, but with ABC Television, starting a series on general aviation flying that would be on videotape and subscribed to as a magazine. And I went out to California to meet these people who had been making a living doing this, to solicit them as an advertiser on this video series. But I was in awe as I waited at Santa Monica Airport for them to land, to see them, their airplane. These people who taught so many of us everything we know. Well, this beat up old, I'm telling you, you wouldn't even want to get in it, 340 came up, oil dripping out of one engine, thank goodness it was a twin, and out come John and Martha in what I've come to say is their wardrobe, the khaki pants and the polo shirt with the King logo on the shirt. Well, I was going to take them to a Beverly Hills restaurant for this dinner to try to solicit their advertising. So Martha suddenly realized what was going on, got back in the plane, closed the door, and came out a few minutes later with her clothes changed for a nice dinner out. Well, speaking of the video wardrobe, khakis and the polo shirts, later John and Martha came to visit me at AOPA and stayed at our home in Maryland. And he had the same outfit on, of course. And I said, John, why don't you take this long sleeve shirt that I have here and keep it, because it's a nice looking dress shirt. When we go to dinner, you can wear it. Do you know, for at least 20 years after that, John was wearing that shirt too. So clothing gurus, I'm not sure they are. Now, I flew a lot with them. Actually, they gave me my first chance to be in the left seat of Citation, of their Falcon. But this time we were flying to Mexico to just have a vacation for about a week and landed at Acapulco. Got a rental car, as we'd all do, and started driving into town to start our 3 or 4 day vacation in that city. 4 pilots. My wife was a pilot. She was with us. I was, John, and Martha. We pulled into town. It was not the best part of town, and a car started to sputter. So we pulled over to the side of the road, all looking at each other. What in the world is wrong here? Keeping the doors locked at the time. 4 pilots. And John has always taught us one of the greatest problems, and Martha, one of the greatest problems in flying is fuel exhaustion. None of us had the wherewithal to know that that car, with markings in Spanish, the needle being at one end was on the empty end, not the full end. The Mexico trip, not this one, but probably another one, found us at a local festival with a mariachi band. Now, I know this is hard to believe, because remember, we've all gotten so much instruction for them. But when they asked for somebody to come up on stage and dance with the dancers, John raised his hand and was up dancing a Mexican hat dance with the mariachi band. Maybe a few too many margaritas, I'm not sure. John and Martha were checking me out in a new plane. I eventually bought a 340 like the one that they traded in about 2 weeks after I met them for the Citation. But the same type plane, a Cessna 340, and I needed some instruction to be able to be insured in the plane. And so who did I think of? These people who have thousands of hours in their own 340. And we met in Indianapolis, and they gave me a briefing on how to pre-flight it, how to do some things we never even think about if the turbocharger gets stuck, to stick your hand in here. And I'm thinking, do I really want to buy this plane? But at any rate, we went out to do the actual flying, and there were thunderstorms in the area. Now, of course, I had instructors with me who knew what they were doing. But I heard for the first time in my life, and my wife and I today still talk about it every time there's a thunderstorm nearby, the first gust. Because here is this wind blowing. We had a pretty fast checkout until the storms came all over. But speaking of John and Martha personally, they have never had children, but they had to suffer, of course, through our stories of the children. But they did really take care of many relatives, both financially and giving them flights, and even some of the employees. They've been very, very generous in the whole time I've known them in these 30 years. So tonight, I'm really pleased that I think we're going to see John and Martha, not in the khakis, not in the polo, but let's see. At any rate, congratulations, John and Martha King.
Nick Clooney presents the biography of John and Martha King.
Well, hello, fellow flight instructor. I'm John King.
And I'm Martha King.
After graduating Indiana University, Martha and John King dedicated themselves to being equal partners in everything they did. After a business false start, Martha and John decided to pursue a goal in something fun until a more serious opportunity came along. So they began by flying their own airplane to Western and Midwestern cities to provide weekend ground schools. After 10 years of teaching their 2-day seminars 50 weekends a year, they had taught their courses 500 times. By the time technology enabled them to put their courses on video, they had their jokes and their explanations refined.
Because you could fall, or your passenger could fall when they release their seatbelts. And the reason I say that is from experience. Martha and I one time wound up on our side on a car. I released her seatbelt, she fell on it. Believe me, it was painful.
Their videos provided learning pilots access to the King's polished instruction in their living rooms.
And the flashing red says, go away, don't land here, abandon the approach because the airport is unsafe for landing.
Soon the Kings were teaching how to fly half the student pilots in the United States.
You and I are about to do something that just a few years ago people could only dream of. With me as your instructor, you're about to fly.
Over 4 decades later, the Kings say they have given up their search for a serious business. Their passion, though, for making aviation accessible to learning pilots at all levels around the world continues. What began in 1975 as this couple's love of teaching ground schools for pilots became King Schools Incorporated, the world's leading producer of aviation training multimedia programs. Martha and John have taught more pilots than any other instructor in aviation history. King Schools Incorporated embodies by far the most influential technology in aviation training. The goal of King Schools is to assist future pilots in obtaining all levels of pilot certification. Topics of their program include private pilot, commercial pilot, international operations, and many other areas of professional and leisure aviation. Today, via the magic of digital communications, the Kings deliver 10,000 video segments a day to learning pilots. Their video courses have had a profound impact on pilot training and in aiding pilots passing their FAA knowledge exams. The programs they have developed help pilots recognize the dangers of flying and equip them with the right tools to make important decisions in the air. The King's passion for flying has been manifested in various ways. In September of 1994, Martha and John became the first and only couple to both hold every category and class of FAA ratings on the pilot and instructor certificates. Martha is the only woman to achieve this complete rating sweep. The couple fly a personal business jet, a Falcon 10, as well as staying current in helicopters and single-engine airplanes. The Kings have received many awards and honors. Most notably, in 2003, Martha was recognized by the First Flight Centennial Commission as one of the 100 distinguished aviation heroes in the first century of flight. In 2012, Martha and John were jointly awarded the Frank G. Brewer Trophy for Aviation Education by the National Aeronautic Association for making aviation knowledge more accessible to pilots worldwide. Martha and John King remain involved in aviation and in their community to this day. The establishment of King Schools Incorporated has had monumental influence for pilots training in the United States and aviation education in general. The couple has certainly made their mark in helping current and future aviators reach their goals. The Kings consider their greatest honor in their flying careers to be the opportunity to help so many pilots reach their personal goals when it has meant so much to them. As pioneers in aviation education for all, we welcome Martha and John King into the National Aviation Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame President David Brixey joins Bill Boyer in presenting the medal, enshrining John and Martha King into the National Aviation Hall of Fame. Please welcome John and Martha King.
Well, hello, folks. In case there's any confusion about this, I'm John King.
And I'm Martha King. And we are standing up. Folks, we want to thank the National Aviation Hall of Fame for their courage in making this unprecedented selection of both partners in this mom and pop operation of ours for this very special award. I can't think of another case where a husband and wife team has received recognition jointly at this level. We are deeply honored.
You know, when Martha's parents began to realize that we were going to be an item, Martha's father got me aside and he says, I want you to know she's the most stubborn person I've ever met in my life. And I said, I already know that. And I took it as great determination, and I made the resolution never to get crosswise with that determination, but to use it to our advantage. So ever since the very start of our marriage, we have worked together because we felt that we needed to be in business for ourselves to do this. So since the start of our marriage, we've been in business together as equal partners. So we made the decision we're going to do that, and it's been that way ever since.
And that, of course, meant that, among other things, we shared the teaching on our aviation videos equally. And that visibility both gave us the opportunity and we felt the obligation to make a contribution to our aviation community. We decided that we wanted to use technology to make aviation learning accessible for everyone. And we also wanted to help pilots improve their risk management practices. You know, flying attracts very special people. And while they're learning to fly, it means a great deal to them. It has been a wonderful privilege to have played a role in the lives of so many special people when it meant so very much to them. Through the years, John and I have had a lot of guidance and assistance from many people, including FAA folks like Roger Baker, who supported us in our development of the PAVE and CARE risk management concept, and Susan Parson, who facilitated the inclusion of risk management in the Airman Certification Standards. But I especially want to mention our great team at King Schools, many of whom are here tonight, including our previous CEO, David Jackson, and our current CEO, Barry Canoodla. They are both very classy, competent people, and it's been a real delight to work with them over the years.
You know, Martha and I have been very fortunate to be able to share our partnership in so many ways through the years. But one of the ways that we have enjoyed the most is flying as a crew in a jet that requires two pilots. It's kind of been like dancing in a beautiful ballet together. And the crew resource management required for it has benefited in so many ways of all aspects of our partnership. It requires mutual respect. For instance, when one of us is pilot in command, the other, regardless of which one it is, calls them captain. People think that we're kidding, but we do call each other captain all the time. And the captain has to solicit input from the other pilot, and the co-pilot has to give that input respectfully. For instance, we're allowed to give information, but we're not allowed to give our opinion. So I can say to Martha, Captain, you're below glide path, sink 1,000. What I cannot say is, Martha, you're too damn low. You know, people often say to me, John, you're lucky that Martha will fly with you. And I say, lucky? What are you talking about lucky? She wants to be captain half the time. It costs us twice as much to be current, and she's got an opinion about everything.
You know, John likes to think that our relationship exemplifies that old saying that behind every successful man stands a great woman.
Well, Martha, you got that right. That's exactly how I feel about it.
He doesn't realize The true saying is, in front of every great woman stands some guy without a clue who's blocking her view.
Folks, it's been a wonderful evening. There's a lot of people in here that we care very deeply about. We are appreciative that every one of you is here. Thanks for sharing this wonderful evening with us. Good night, everybody.
Continue to have a great evening.
What we're trying to do in our course is take relatively complicated material, clarify it, simplify it, and make it fun. And so when we're in the studio and we say, okay, we're arguing arguments about how we're going to edit something, says, well, let's make it clear, simple, and fun. Let's not make it complicated.
It's our unique selling proposition, and everybody in the company, if you ask them, what is the King School's unique selling proposition? They can
in our
say,
courses.
Right, in our courses, we clarify, we simplify, we make it fun.
John and Martha, thank you very, very much for the opportunity to be here for your very, very special day. I can't think of hardly anybody that's more deserving of such an honor. I think it's wonderful that you're being inducted here into the Aerospace Hall of Fame as a couple. That's just amazing to me. It's a testament to the work and partnership that you've formed over all these years.
I just want to thank you for the things you've done for aviation, for me and for my students. You have done so many great things and helped so many people be safer in aviation throughout the years, and I am honored to be here tonight to honor you. Thanks.
My primary study aids were King, and even still today. Just last year I bought their Nat Tracks, the one at their King School on Nat Tracks. And so anyhow, I've been using them for 40 years. I love them.
John and Martha, congratulations. And I have to say, it's been amazing working with you and for you. The first time I went anywhere with you, it was like following Bruce Springsteen around. We were at an air show at Sun and Fun, and you couldn't go more than 10 feet without people stopping you to say, thank you for helping me. I feel like I know you. Can I take a selfie? Do you have a minute? I want to tell you a little bit about my flying. And you've always been so gracious. You take the time to talk to everyone and make sure that they know how much you appreciate them being a customer and fan of King Schools. You guys are fantastic, and congratulations.